Created another practice for you to make sure you're ready for this 3-1-3-2 quiz. So this part of your quiz, use your calculator, okay? You can try to do the problems without a calculator, but I would definitely double check your answers on a calculator, because a calculator will put it in the proper form, so our answers have to be in standard form. That's that A plus BI mode, and it should be very easy for you to take what's on your paper. So it should not take long to type in these problems. Okay, so we have -1 minus 4i minus parentheses -6 minus 7i. And your I is second period. You hit enter and you're going to get 5 plus 3i. Again, this one's real easy to do without a calculator. You're just combining like terms, -1 and the +6, because when you're subtracting, you're changing these two, they're opposites. -1 and the 6 is 5, -4i and a 7i, that's where the +3i comes from, okay? Now, multiplication's a little bit trickier than adding and subtracting, but again, according to the calculator, it doesn't matter. So as long as you take what's on your paper and type it in, guaranteed to get the correct answer. So again, just double check. So be precise with how you type it in your calculator, and you will be good for that section on your quiz. And again, if you didn't have a calculator, you would have to do FOIL and then simplify. Okay, so we talked about that. For this one, squaring a binomial, again, if you didn't have a calculator, you would have to write it twice and then do FOIL, but should be so easy to type this in. Squared 5 minus 3i squared is going to be a 16 minus 30i. Okay, easy as that. And then this last one is make sure everything is typed in exactly how you see it. Okay, include the parentheses. Make sure you don't confuse negatives with minuses. So your calculator will do its job. So I try to give you plenty of practice problems in class with big idea assignments where you get to practice doing these problems. Okay, so that's as hard as it gets, typing it into your calculator correctly and hitting enter. Okay, so first four, super easy. Okay, this next problem, you're going to see this. I told you that this is going to be easy. We did this in our notes. You just have to draw your attention to that first part. So you're solving 15 equals -3x, and in one move, we'll know what x is. So you've seen these problems numerous times. In this case, 15 divided by -3 is simply -5. Okay, if I replace this x with a -5, we would have 15 on each side of the equal sign. Okay, then I draw my attention to the imaginary part. Okay, -4i equals 2/9 yi. Okay, the i's you don't even have to deal with, they're on both sides, so you just cancel them out. Since this is a fraction, I have two choices. I can divide by 2/9 on both sides, that's what I'm going to do, but you could also multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so when you type this in your calculator, okay, you need to make sure you put your fraction in parentheses. So I have my -4, and now I'm ready to divide by 2 divided by 9. If you don't use parentheses, order of operations is going to mess this up. The calculator is not going to give you the correct answer. Okay, and you're going to have -18. Okay, now back in elementary is what you're really doing. This is what the calculator is doing. Okay, you're multiplying. When it divides by 2/9, you're really multiplying by 9 over 2, and you can reduce this. This 2 goes into 4, so it becomes a -2 times 9. That's where the -18 is coming from. Okay, so, but you can use your calculator if you use it correctly. Okay, then this next part, we're solving. So we only know two methods, factoring and the square root method. So for this one, we have to factor, which means we must have 0. Okay, So you must get this in standard form, square term, x term, number, and then it should be very easy to factor. Okay, so now I'm thinking of negative 20. So if you like those diamond problems, you're thinking multiply to give you negative 20, but adds up to negative 1. Okay, 2 and 10 won't work, but if you use a negative 5 and a 4, that agrees. Multiplies the negative 20, but adds up to negative 1. So I must write minus 5 and a plus 4. Okay, now don't stop here because you never solved anything. The whole reason we want to see the factors is so that I know my solutions. Okay, so again, it's a zero product property where if I can figure out what makes this zero, obviously a positive 5 is just the opposite of this sign. 5 minus 5 is 0. 0 times 9 is 0. And then if I would replace this x with a negative 4, this would be a negative 9 on this side, but multiplied by 0 is 0. So you're finding the two solutions that make the original problem true. Okay? For this one, we're still factoring, but keep the x squared. Don't subtract the x squared to get 0. Keep the x squared positive, subtract the 15x, and then add 56. And it shouldn't take us long to figure out this problem. So I'm locked in at x and x, and then I know it's minus minus, and it's not too hard to think of ways to get in 56. I know 8 times 7 is 56, and it adds up to negative 15. Okay, that's what the combination I need, so it checks by FOIL. So 8 and 7 are the answers. Okay, now be careful with number 8. I included number 8 so that you see another problem like this before you take your quiz. When you get this in standard form, bring that negative 11 over, the number cancels out. So when that happens, super easy to factor. Okay, there's no thinking, no diamond problem. All you do is factor out an x. Okay, so it's just x, reverse the distributive property, x times x minus 6. So 0 is an answer, and positive 6 is an answer. Okay, super easy, but for some reason, that confuses students all the time. Okay, but I'm hoping you've seen enough of those by now that it's not going to trick you when you see that on your exam. Okay, this last one, though, I can do by the square root method, because it's just a p squared, so I'm going to add a 1 to both sides, so that's going to make this negative 120, and I'm going to divide by 10, and I'm left with negative 12. So when you take the square root of a negative number, we know it's going to be imaginary, and I would want you to clean this up. So remember both answers, so it's plus or minus I root 12. Again, you're taking the square root of a negative, automatically becomes an I. And then within 12, 12 is not a big number, we should know 12 is 4 times 3. So final answer in proper form, square root of 4 is a 2, then the I, and then root 3. Okay? And the last problem, practice with a revenue question. Every revenue question's the same setup. Okay? I give you a price. So right now, we're charging $1 per song. Okay? So here's my price. So here's price. And then in this case, we're dealing with songs. Okay? So $1 for a song, price for one song, and at that rate we sell 4,000 songs each day. Okay, but we're going to increase the price. Okay, we're thinking, okay, let's increase at a rate of 0.05, so basically a nickel. Okay, we're increasing by 5 cents each time, and that's going to have a negative impact on this sales. So we have to read for every 5-cent increase in price, we are selling 80 fewer songs. So now we have to subtract 80x from the songs. Okay? That's how every problem, if this is plus, then the other one has to be minus. So just read carefully. I will clearly tell you what you're doing to your price and how it impacts the sales. So then all you have to do is go to your y equals screen. Oops. Come on, Mr. Wegman. Hit the y equals screen. Clear that. And I'm just going to type in exactly what we wrote on our paper. So don't forget the x, okay? You need 2 x's to, when you multiply it, that's what makes it quadratic. and having opposite signs is what's going to make it have a maximum. Okay, so if your signs are the same, you're never going to be able to find the maximum. Okay, so I typed in exactly what was on our paper, and now I'm going to go to my table, and I'm just going to search until I see that it's coming back down. Okay, so it looks like it's still going up, still going up, still going up. Now, I don't make you scroll this far on my quiz, but notice it's occurring when X is 15. So my highest revenue, max Y value, is 4,900. So I'm just going to show the table here. I know when X is 15, we get a max revenue of $4,900. So we can make an extra $900 every day by raising the price. So then I'm going to ask, what should that price be? So you take the 15 and replace the X with a 15. So it's $1 plus 0.05 times 15. We should be charging $1.75 per song. Okay, then how many songs will be selling? Well, I take the 4,000 minus 880 times 15. Remember, we found that X was 15 on our table, and we're only going to sell 2,800 songs per day, so we're selling less songs, but at the end of the day, our max revenue is $4,900. Okay, and I can easily show that by taking 1.75, so right there is 1.75 times the 2,800 songs that we would sell, and I'm making more money than original prices. Okay, so that is how every revenue problem will work. That's how it's going to work on your quiz. Okay, so 10 problems, 12 minutes. Hopefully this helps that you can do really well to end our marking period with a really good quiz grade. Okay, thanks for watching. Take care.